What up?
Let's find out if we're actually live on YouTube.
It's saying that we're live right now, guys. So I'm assuming right now that everybody watching us is aware that they are live with the Earful of Dirt podcast on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope apparently this week.
Hey, hey, son.
Hey, we live exactly.
We live.
That's what I'm saying. There's a little icon up in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
Hey.
So
we're still trying to figure things out here. Sorry.
Hey, man, I'm just happy we're live. We worked on this last week to see if it would work, and we weren't sure if it would work.
So, as you guys watching may or may not be aware, we are currently testing a new platform with which to stream to our many social media accounts. This one is called, what's it called now?
StreamYard. It's up in the right-hand corner.
We are currently powered by.
I just see a duck with the something that says beta, so that tells me nothing.
Oh well, we are currently powered by StreamYard.
StreamYard. All right, there it is.
We are also live on Periscope on Twitter.
Wait. What?
Yeah. We need to fact check. We need to fact check this.
I mean, this is amazing. If we are,
I'm looking at it right now.
By the way, we'll have an updated drink.
This is awesome. We're gonna do this. Yeah.
Do we need to add every mention of Periscope to that list?
I guess.
Oh, most definitely. Maybe we'll get sponsored by Periscope.
This is awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So
let's actually get into the podcast now.
Yeah.
What's this podcast? Hold on, is this my Star Wars podcast or the rugby one or football? What?
All right. Well, welcome to everyone who is bearing with us in our technical difficulty times. Well, welcome to Earful of Dirt, the Major League Rugby podcast. Thank you for joining us. I am joined always. I am Joshua Fredlin in Colorado. I'm joined by Aaron Castro in Arizona and Liam Poach in Boston. I will also be moderating the comments section. Guys, how was your week?
What? Well, the fact that this worked, we're going to say it was pretty good. So overall, wasn't too bad. Enjoyed some time, I would say, in the thermal radiation that permeates the land of Arizona with the 115-degree weather. I did get a new computer, as you can see me now. I'm on my own box. We fixed that. The lake. So the lake I went to swim at, it was. Have you guys like bathwater? Is the best way. Like that's how warm it was. That just sucks. Then
it's like swimming in a pond after a rainstorm. It just gets it all warm.
And then we went and watched the Diamondbacks thump the Nationals and took home a Haboob globe. So if anyone wants to know what a Haboob is, it's one of those crazy dust storm things that happen in the desert. So that was.
Hey, I saw you post about that Sunday. Did you get one?
Yeah. I don't have it in the studio, but I'll bring it out the next time. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. As far as my week went, if anybody cares to listen, it was pretty. Yeah, I know. Yeah, pretty uneventful. Other than today, I had the opportunity to go into the Free Jacks office for only the third time since I've been back home, but it was pretty productive. Had a good interview with Anthony Papura, so be on the lookout for that at some point in the near future regarding the Free Jacks activities over this past offseason, especially regarding their work with a bunch of high school and youth programs. We're going to find out a lot more information about that. So that set my Monday off at least on a pretty good note. What did not set me off on a good note though was the traffic coming home. It took me almost 2 hours to get home from Osbury to Salem. Yeah, so I had a choice of going directly through Boston, which told me it was going to be like 56 minutes, but I was like, bullshit, 56 minutes, because I'm going to catch like rush hour traffic. Sorry, distracted by something on my screen, but I thought I was going to catch rush hour traffic coming home. I decided to try to take the long way around, and ended up catching more traffic that way because of a car accident. So that's the story of my commute, if anybody actually cared. Cheers.
Wow.
Well, for those new to the podcast, each Monday night during the Major League Rugby season, and when we feel like it, we discuss news, rumors, and abuse from Major League Rugby, the United States Professional Rugby Union. It's a chance to look at the issues, hear from the league, players, and team leadership, and check in with our friends from across the U.S. rugby scene. That said, Aaron, what are we doing this week?
Well, so for the rundown, we're going to do some PNC, and some PNC. Then we're going to do round 3 preview of the PNC. So I guess more so of a recap for a game that neither of us watched. I did see a bunch of highlights on this game. Tonga really not that disciplined. Conditions were so PNC round 2 recap, I guess. Japan defeats Tonga 41-7. Liam will put has in his notes he didn't watch the game, neither did I. But the highlights I saw, really it was a dominated game by Japan. They have this very offloading style of rugby, a bit not like Fiji, but sort of. But we like to offload a lot too, and maybe we'll see some of that later. But it was just a dominating game, and really they are sort of putting their hand forward to say knocking on tier 1 status before their game against Fiji, the team where you're like saying at least competitively on the field. Fiji was in your top 10, but whereas in when it just comes to rugby administration, JERFU, Japanese Rugby Football Union, is they making money, man. They got that money. They will probably get tier 1 status pretty soon. Especially after this Rugby World Cup, we'll see.
And for those that are not totally familiar with it, being a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 nation doesn't always involve the amount of matches that you win. It also involves the amount of money you're able to put forth into your national program. And Japan is, as Aaron's saying, nearing that threshold.
Yeah, they did. They had a pretty good one as far as the weekend was concerned. But moving on to the meat of the show, we're going to go over the United States win over Samoa, 13-10, and also the the beatdown that was Fiji versus Canada, and what could have been worse, I guess, in that sense. Liam.
Yeah. Well, so looks like on the script we're talking about the PNC round 1, Japan versus Tonga.
That was 2.
Sorry, what?
Round 2, 21.
So, are we talking about USA versus Samoa?
Yeah, we're talking USA versus Samoa, and then Canada versus Fiji.
Okay, my bad. I got all lost in the script there for a second. Still, yeah, but blame it on the new platform. It has nothing to do with me being distracted. So anyway, to get to the meat of this program, this game was kind of annoyingly slow in my opinion. Tons of mistakes on both sides. However, sometimes the mark of true improvement is winning really close games and not just blowing opponents out every contest. So, if you want to see some sort of silver lining to this game, maybe you can look at it from that perspective, in which case, hey, we were able to win the close one. We were able to grit it out and get the victory. Overall, though, it was pretty hard to tell what exactly went really well and what didn't for the USA, because there was a lot of stop and go due to the amount of penalties on both sides. I thought the lack of fluidity really hurt one's ability to get kind of a full gauge on how how well anything was going, because there wasn't a whole lot of chance to follow through, especially on starter plays out of the set piece. But there was definitely some exciting instances, though, such as AJ McGinty's near grubber try assist that, had the try zone actually been full regulation size, it would have been a try. But, no use crying over spilled milk. We got the victory anyway. Despite that, though, I just want to say AJ McGinty is still one of the most, he's one of the best pieces that this USA team has to work with. And I feel like in the last 2 years, AJ McGinty's kind of been talked about less and less, just because we have so many emerging stars from Major League Rugby that he's kind of, becoming kind of an outsider in USA Rugby fandom. As more people start to familiarize themselves with local clubs and local teams. But you start to kind of forget he is one of the best USA eligible players in the world right now, and it's really good that we have him, especially for a tournament like this on the way to the World Cup.
Bit of a sloppy match from the U.S. Eagles standpoint. I'm sure, the same for Steven Jackson's Samoa side. We just really were not able to convert where we wanted to. We had a bunch of lineouts at the 5 meter right in the corner, and the Samoa defense was either able to, sack those mauls that we got, or we'd turn over the ball at the breakdown, or even within the ruck, which was a problem because we had that same issue against Canada, except we were playing Canada and we had physical overmatch and just were better. But this is, in this game, physically much more evenly matched, but our ball security issues sort of, really came out. And part of that had to do with, for all I know, we actually worked a lot on ball security and the wet conditions. It rained during our match, although it did not rain during the Fiji-Canada match, but it was still pretty wet. We just weren't able to convert a lot of our possessions that were deep inside Samoa's territory, especially in the first half. For some reason, Blaine made the decision at times to go for to kick to the corner and use our set piece, which really speaks to a lot about the confidence in our driving maul and what we want to do physically to another team. And I think, using our maul to punish the other to Samoa really, did pay some dividends. But I think there's 3 decisions, if you look, where we had, good shots on goal where AJ could have just slotted it and we would have 6 or 9 points from those penalties. In the scrum, I thought we really played well, especially Chance Wingleski. For the most part, I want to say David Ayunu and Patty Ryan, when they came on, there was a bit of a difference, especially for Patty Ryan, who was going up against Mulapola. So their backup loose head prop is, Mulapola he's a stud. And, he was getting pretty wrecked by him. And then I'm sure there was a bunch of, sir, can you look at? And then I think Mulapola had to start driving straight against Patty Ryan. And although he was still getting beat, there was stability, which would allow us to get our ball out from the scrum. One of the things for this game, Liam says something not to really, one of the thing that popped out again in this game was defense. Our defense continued to play with physical intensity where, previously we've been soft, especially against a physical team like Samoa. But I don't really know what we were trying to do other than use our set piece to punish an attack and score tries. If the intent is to continue, just score as many tries as possible, I get it. Like, we're going to need to score tries against the likes of England, Argentina, and France. Samoa, they played some good defense, but on attack, it seemed fairly rudimentary. Tried to use their ball carriers in places where it just would not work, like it may have in past years where they would have just blown up our defense. We played, very physical stuff, and it showed. I think, Nigel didn't ref that great of a game. I think he also made up for some calls. Everyone talked about, hey, what about this call here? And, given the amount of possession that Samoa had and deep in our half in the second half of the game without the wind, I really don't care because they had enough possession and the ball in the right part of the pitch where they could have figured this out. But our defense tightened up and got the ball turned over, or they committed a penalty. And, when it came to discipline, both these teams committed a lot of penalties. And it was just very stop, start, blah, blah, blah.
I'm sorry. What wasn't it like? Only like a total of like 10 minutes that Samoa had the ball like inside of our end or inside of our 22 or something like that. I remember them saying
Yeah,
at the
I
end of
need
the game.
to look that up, but they definitely didn't have the ball much inside our 22 in the first half. Like we were just basically
It,
we
it,
had a
wa-
lot
it
of
was
ball.
definitely a big disparity from when I heard this stat. I can't quite remember what the number was.
But I mean, we definitely did not allow them the ability to run their attack with the way we played physical and fast defense. So that's that. When it comes to this game, I know what part of what we're trying to do, which is, set piece attack. Use the set piece. The other part I don't know what we're trying to do. I think we want to use kicks in open play, but the conditions just really haven't allowed us to do that a lot. And then we didn't need to do that a lot against Canada to get what we wanted to do. And of course, AJ does that, put that kick in play. And geez, Martin Yosefo, like he had an okay game. He had some spots where you're just like, Martin, and then you're like, Martin, like he had a real like somewhat of an up and down game, but in a lot of ways, you can tell there's a reason why he's out there because he's just this big physical fast winger that tackles, that goes to work, all that fun stuff. And he would have gotten that try if that freaking try zone was a 10-meter try zone instead of a
Was
6-meter.
actually freaking
Well,
regulation.
it was regulation.
I mean, I know full regulation.
Well, if it was full regulation, man, if it was 22-meter try zone, we're talking.
But hold on, isn't Glendale only a 6-meter in goal?
I want to say Glendale, Seattle, and
6 sounds about right.
San Diego are all short.
Yeah,
Although I'm pretty sure Glendale
I know
could give you.
I know Houston's full.
I would say Glendale could give you another meter or two, based on how I look at it.
Definitely.
I feel like San Diego could go longer too.
Oh yeah, I think they could, especially if they. I would say if they push the field, like where the posts in, where the posts are in, if they push the field to the west a little bit, it would give them more
stands. Sorry.
It would give them because like where the try zone is on the east end, it's pretty shallow. Like when there's not much left, so you'd have to like put the post holes further, like a couple of meters to the west to get like that extra ground. But there is space for it.
So just so people can understand, moving away from the stands?
Moving away from the east side, yeah. You'd have to move the post holes west by like 3 meters.
Okay.
Because there's
Welcome to the Landscape Architecture Podcast of San Diego.
Venue construction, of course, I'm going to take in law school. So, yeah, you got to take a drink.
Today we're discussing Torero Stadium.
But yeah, in this, we're going to play really good defense, is what I'm seeing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the pod. But Liam, did you get a chance to catch Canada at all?
No, I did not get a chance to watch Canada.
So, granted, you're on the East Coast, but Brooke and I really made it a date night. I went and got a nice Cabernet Sauvignon, and
you're a red wine man, I see.
Well, I can drink white, but here's why. I went and got a ribeye. I got she doesn't like ribeyes because she thinks it's too fatty. But I went and got myself a ribeye. I got her I think it was a London broil, and pan-seared that and put it in the oven and then pulled it out. And right when she got home, like the anthems had just started. It was perfect. It was perfect. Ooh. And then we stayed up and we watched the Fiji game. Canada, what are you doing? 38-13, and it wasn't close. Like this, it looks close because of the scoreline in the first half because Fiji made some mistakes, but I'm not really sure what their attack plan was here. If they were trying to they were trying to out physical Fiji, that ain't gonna happen. Like, I mean, these guys are, genetically so much different than the rest of us. That team, like, physical specimens at every position. Fiji is. So they didn't have Ardrin, and they put Olmsted on the bench. They ended up losing both their starting locks, which is insane, in the first half. I understood the point of having O'Leary and Nelson on the pitch together. Nelson is normally a fullback, so putting him at fullback was great. And then you have, 2 first 5/8 out there with O'Leary playing fly half and Nelson at fullback, and you have 2 playmakers together, and really means that you're going to put Nelson in more of an attacking role, I would think, considering he was playing fly half. But I don't know. O'Leary, I thought, had a good game, but outside of that, it was just pretty rough. Fiji, if this game was played in much drier conditions, they probably would have run over Canada by 60 points. The physical nature of the game was just amazing to see what they could do. If we were in the same pool as them, they would scare their shit out of me. Their offloads were sort of like angelic. The physics of it made zero sense. They had some handling errors. In fact, they had a lot, which sort of kept Canada in the game early on. But just how far their offloads would go made no sense. It was something. So, yeah, Canada's going to play, I think they play Tonga next, and yeah, I guess we'll preview that sort of. But moving on to the round 3 preview. So Liam and I are going to take a little bit of a look at Japan. Should I be scared? Am I resigned for a loss?
Don't be such a grouch.
At this point, I feel like we've had a successful campaign with the PNC. Although I think a loss is likely to happen considering how they played Fiji and considering how they played Tonga. I still think that we will be prepared to dictate a physical match against Japan. If the match is dry, we will have to be very physical. We will have to play at a good tempo of rugby because their defense is going to bring the line speed, just like we're going to bring the line speed, and we're going to overload and we're going to attack with our defense. We didn't really see how we wanted to go on attack in either of the last 2 matches outside of just using our dominant set piece. The last time we defeated Japan, which was the last time we played, was during the 2015 warm-ups, and things for both teams were different. I don't think they had the Sunwolves in 2015. Rest in peace. But they have had the Sunwolves since. They've also had a pro league for roughly 16 years. We didn't have MLR, so our players are conditioned. We've had a true camp. Really look forward to this contest. For Canada versus Tonga, I think it's going to be a tough contest for them physically. Tonga has some nasty guys. Like, they are massive. They don't really match up well. In fact, I don't think Canada has matched up physically that well with any team since, we played them. I thought they might have, but, when we got out to the pitch, there really was a lot of overmatch. Canada is going to be a lot more disciplined in a lot of areas, so I suspect that's going to be a closer game. Could they bounce back from the Fiji match? Unsure. I really don't know. If Tonga fall apart against Canada, I suppose that is good news for the World Cup when we play them.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So I went ahead and took a little bit bit of a numbers perspective on this game. So Japan, like the U.S., currently undefeated in the PNC, having scored 34 and 41 points respectively in their matches against Fiji and Tonga, for an average of about 37.5 points a game, while defeating their opponents by an average margin of 23.5 points. Meanwhile, the Eagles have also won their last 2 matches of the tournament, with one being, as we discussed, slightly less convincing versus Canada. In their last 2 games, the Eagles have scored an average of 30 points, but that's mainly thanks to our round 1 blowout of Canada. Meanwhile, our average margin of victory has been about 15.5. So are the numbers on our side? not technically, but after coming off a third ARC championship as well as with the World Cup looming, you kind of want to hope the Eagles have a little bit more hitch in their giddy up. So I'm going to say Eagles by 3 just for the hell of it.
Josh, are you gonna take us into the sexy period?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was mesmerized by Liam's voice. But it's time for everyone's favorite segment, questions from Bob. All right. First up from Pierce Logan. Is there any truth to the rumors that Vegas, Obetz, Vancouver, and Halifax have started the bid process with Major League Rugby?
So I've heard rumors with Vegas, but there's a lot of concrete stuff there. Like there's a lot going on there. I would say of those 4 markets, that is the most concrete one. An Ohio Obetz type thing. There is some interest there, but there's really not a lot of concrete stuff that I can tell you so far. There was rumors that they had purchased Austin Elite, and Austin Elite would move to Obetz, Ohio in 2021. There is no foundation to that. Although there have been some conversations. I did find that out. So, that is what it is. Vancouver and Halifax? Yeah, no. There is zilch.
I want there to be a Halifax team. Like I don't believe it's true for a second. I know all the problems that would make it, not viable, but I want it to be just because of Trailer Park Boys. Like
that would be kind of fun. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Does everyone like rain? Because
rain's good, eh? Yeah, just what nature giving you a shower if you're stinky there, don't you know? Hey.
Hey, I love the rain, man. It smells great.
Oh, don't you know? Seattle, they like the rain there, eh? Too, yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, nothing too really concrete on. Well, from what I've gathered, there's a lot more stuff going on in Vegas than the rest of these. And the Vegas bid, if the things I've been told are correct or remotely correct, based on the fact that Brian Ray's like they've got, land off the strip and they're going to develop a complex. I'm like, okay, off the strip is, there's a vast amount of land off the strip. So I don't know what that means, but I think Vegas is your next shot for an expansion team after the other confirmed team that we're waiting to hear the announcement of.
Yeah, I was gonna say either Vegas or Obetz, Ohio. Just Obetz. Obviously, like ever since they got the little taste of the PRO team with the Ohio Aviators, I think they've been craving a lot more. Tiger Rugby obviously has some pretty firm roots there in the region as well. It would definitely make sense, but like Aaron said, there's a lot going on in Vegas. There's a lot that would be really, attractive about the region for them to move there. So yeah, nothing confirmed, nothing concrete, but we'll see how things shake up in the future.
I mean, that market is really rabid right now. They're wanting sports. I guess when the Diamondbacks sort of opened up their RFPs, there was a bunch of drama this week about that. I guess someone broke open, did a FOIA request with the city of Henderson, and they found out that the city of Henderson had signed a bunch of NDAs with the Diamondbacks. And then the Diamondbacks come out and be like, yeah, we were surprised in the interest, but they have talked to a few other Major League Baseball teams about moving there too. So we're trying to stay here in Arizona for a while. I mean, we've got a long ass lease, and
I'd say isn't that lease pretty team friendly too?
Oh yeah, like it allows them to sort of explore whatever, and they also have full operational control of the venue until like 2025. So I mean, if your lease gives you operational control, that means you basically own the building without sort of owning it, which is kind of cool.
So moving on from William Stillwell. We know the status of Josh Furno and Joe Peterson for the San Diego Legion as far as them returning in 2020?
Nothing specific that I've heard personally.
I mean, I wouldn't spend the money on a visa if I wasn't getting them back. Just saying. Joe Peterson, that dude's coming back. Like he's got like talk about a guy that was captaining a finalist. Like, come on, like, he's coming back. Furno, I've got nothing. I know that Joe is definitely enjoying his conservationist safari charity he's got going on in South Africa right now. But I think he's just sort of enjoying it and, chilling till preseason.
Next question is from Rugby Bean. If for you Americans, is playing Japan like when England plays Germany?
Jesus, man.
So I think things have improved quite a lot since World War II. I think, unless this is
after we forced the Japan army to disarm and brought them freedom.
I'm pretty sure this is like
Earl.
I did Google this. I guess England and Germany have a soccer rivalry. Yeah, I don't follow soccer that much, so I couldn't tell you. As far as that rivalry existing with Japan, we don't play Japan that much in rugby, so I can't really say it's sort of the same. But the last time out, we beat them, so maybe not. I mean, unlike the German versus England soccer rivalry where Germany holds the lead in the series.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people still holding grudges from the 1940s.
But hey, you never know.
Yeah.
All right. From this segment's namesake, Bob B. Barberson would like to know. You guys probably will touch on this in the match preview, but how do you go about neutralizing the quick offloads that Japan is using to neutralize big hitters?
Sorry. I thought this was your opportunity to answer, Aaron. My bad. Keep the gats tight. Make sure you're supporting your teammates on defense just as you would on offense. Be there to set the ruck and make sure that the game is moving. That you're controlling the pace and the game isn't moving ahead of you.
Stick to your assignment. Sort of the same thing. Execute tackles. Get the double tackle to wear down ball carriers. Would be we haven't had a really good game yet, so have a really good game. Is the best way I can put it.
That's good.
Next question, kind of similar to the last question from BZHJJM. What is the one thing that if the Eagles do perfectly will give them the best chance against Japan?
Ball security in the first half.
Kind of related, but second half discipline. Don't give it away.
I will add one other thing to that somebody actually posted on Reddit to response to this question is set pieces. What do you guys think?
I mean, if we did not execute them against Samoa like we did against Canada, so yeah, if we execute all our set pieces, it's gonna be a good day. I think,
All right, one last question, and this was actually brought to our attention by our friend Adam Downey-Keene at Downey-Keene on both Reddit and Twitter. The Griffins Rugby Twitter handle has updated their profile to include MLR information. What do you guys make of that?
I wasn't aware of that, but now
I clicked on it because I saw the tweet from Adam, and it's true. He changed whoever is running that handle changed the photo, updated the photo, but I mean, if you talk to people from Dallas, there's like nothing going on, like no outreach to clubs, sort of, and not that needs to be the only thing you do, but you need to sort of having those conversations so you at least build your community up before you make this announcement, so that when you make this announcement, the community is there to go, stuff like that.
That went on a second too long, Aaron. That
yeah.
So it was just like a beat too long to be too awkward.
Yeah. Pierce sent in a question later on Facebook. He asked if NBC Sports Gold is going to be streaming the World Cup. I know that there's going to be.
It will be. It's going to be, but it is not connected to the package that you may have purchased the PNC
so
with.
the World Cup NBC Gold package, I don't think is for sale yet, and they have not released a price, which is kind of annoying because I sort of want to know. I hope it's under $100.
It's a month away. Like, come on.
I hope it's under $150.
Yeah, me fucking too, dude.
So there's that. But their coverage isn't just going to be on NBC Sports Gold. There's going to be some NBCSN games. I think all the U.S. games are on delay on NBCSN. There's going to be some live games on NBCSN. And I think there's an All Blacks game that is on at something like 8 p.m. Pacific on the Peacock.
Do we know has the broadcast schedule been released yet?
No, this is just me with some sort of inside info. Actually, it might be. I need to let's look up NBC.
I'm trying to find it and can't find it.
Rugby World Cup.
A thought that often occurs to both me and Aaron is, does this violate my NDA?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, can I?
How hard are these coals upon which I am walking currently?
Did I talk about this? So like the schedule is out, but I don't have times on NBC's page, so I can't really. I got nothing. I think the game. Let me. New Zealand versus South Africa, which is match number 4, is supposed to be on NBC, the Peacock, which is a Saturday. So I guess that'll be a Friday. That's the only game I know of that's supposed to be on the Peacock, but there's supposed to be more. So
I think 2015 they did the semis and the final on the Peacock.
Maybe.
I know they definitely did the final. So, well,
really? Oh wait, yeah. Never mind. I was in the field. That's why I didn't see the World Cup. Never mind. I was in the desert. Sorry.
We'll try and get the schedule out to you guys whenever it comes out.
Yeah, pretty much. So there you go.
I think that's it for questions, unless you guys have anything else.
Not really a question. I guess so. The SaberCats announced on Thursday that they were going to announce their coach hire on Tuesday. I mean, so it's sort of out. It was on Reddit. I think I saw it on Twitter somewhere. Maybe I didn't see it on Twitter. Maybe I saw it on Facebook somewhere. But supposedly, their head coach's name is Paul Healy. If anyone knows who Paul Healy is or doesn't, he coached Germany, he coached Brazil, and he coached Chile, I believe. Maybe he also coached Uruguay. For some reason, I thought he was a Kiwi, but he's an Australian. But he's been around sort of the tier 2, tier 3 World Rugby Page 4 coaching circuit for a little bit. If it's not him, then I have no idea, because that sort of seems to be the prevailing notion. But like I said, I read it on Twitter and then asked around, and they're like, I think that's him. So
it's a possibility, but there's always there's also always the possibility that Houston comes out of left field on this decision, which, believe me, is an entire possibility.
So I think it's Paul Healy. Overall, pretty good coach. Question is, who are his other assistants going to be? Paul Emmerich is signed as an assistant. So they need a forwards coach. They need somebody else, I think, an attack coach, because I think unless Paul is actually the attack coach and not the skills coach. Don't know. I should probably ask him. But yeah, so needs to hire a forwards coach and go from there, if that's him.
And I'm not sure if they got Coach Neil down there still, but I would love to hear his accent telling the guys to go through phases again.
Well, Aaron, you added kind of a final thought, but anything else to add? before we get out of here?
I get to see my first Tier 1 versus Tier 1 test this weekend. For all those that want to go to Australia, I'm going to tell you what it's like flying 29 hours to go to Western Australia next show. If I'm not in bed, because
It'll probably be 2 weeks.
it's like 29 hours that way and 27 hours back. And I'm only going to be there for 3.5 days. So there it is.
Yeah. Screw spending that much time on an airplane.
All right, Liam, anything else?
Go Eagles, baby.
Right.
Yeah, that feels really dirty to say. Go Team USA.
Beat Japan.
Yeah, beat Japan. There we go.
Patriots suck, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. On our way out, please note that all opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or practices of Major League Rugby teams or the league. Aaron Castro is employed by Major League Rugby, and Liam Poach is employed by the New England Free Jacks. Be sure to tune in next week. We're live on YouTube each Monday night and available on your favorite podcast platform each Wednesday morning. If you like what we do, please subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes feeds. It helps other folks find us. Please also leave us a review. I don't think we've gotten a 5-star iTunes review in a while. We will read them on air.
Hook us up, man. Hook us up.
Isn't like iTunes going away or something like that?
I think each section is becoming its own thing or whatever. But and be sure to share your own news, views, and abuse with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find us at Earful of Dirt. And join us on Reddit. You can find us at reddit.com/r/MLRugby. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you whenever we decide to come back.